So let's talk about the series between Valencia and Panathinaikos. Valencia won 3-2. It was a super balanced and super competitive series. Panathinaikos won 2 games away. Then Valencia did the same at Oaxaca. And in game 5, the home team won. The point difference in each game was really low. The first game ended with a 1-point victory for Panathinaikos. That was a 2-point victory in game 2, a 4-point victory in game 3 for Valencia, a 3-point victory in game 4 for Valencia, and then the 17-point victory for Valencia in game 5. But it was really spectacular, both on the court and on the psychological side of the court, as it often happens with the Panathinaikos when they're involved in one playoff series. There were a lot of examples of it when Ataman took the technical foul to probably help his team mentally in game 3. Martinez then responded, and I personally loved it because he was ready to fight for his team even down 2-0 in the series. They were both obviously ejected, but also in game 2 when Giannakopoulos was taken out of the Heroic Arena, Ataman's technical foul in game 5 for throwing his water bottle on the court. The nerves were tense all series long. It's been very exciting, and overall I think that the better team won. So Valencia, and they probably lost the first games because of the poor 3-point percentages, despite the high quality of the shots taken, and the poor free throw percentage, especially from players like Sacco and Costello, but they still came back from 0-2. And now they're getting to the Final Four. So I want to know your personal considerations about the series.
Yes. It was very interesting to see how the series was developing through the games. I originally expected Valencia to win this night, also because they were playing at home, and they always performed really well at the Roig Arena, as you said before. Even though I was expecting from them like the perfect game, so high volume from 3-point line, offensive rebound, turnovers made from Panathinaikos, etc. But tonight they did not have a perfect game at all. I mean, they just missed a lot of open shots, especially Costello, one of my favorite players, as you know. Also Nate Rivers and many others did not score many open shots, and that's not a pity. They just managed to also collect some offensive rebounds, as they always do. But I think that if they scored that, if they managed to score, they would have ended the game really like maybe in the second quarter. There was also a key point into the game when Panathinaikos managed to recover from a slow start, and Nigel Ice Davis scored the 17-16 for Panathinaikos, and then started a long difference and gap with a break from Valencia, and it ended in 35-18 for them. Started with Braxton Key, and then with Branco Badio, which was like the MVP of the night. And I don't know how to express that, because it amazes me that Valencia could have also played better, and even though that they managed to win by 70 points. Panathinaikos at the same time was very worse tonight, both on psychological and technical terms. The only player I have to highlight tonight is Nigel Davis. Kendrick Nunn was terrible, and they managed to score just 64 points, which was the second lowest in the season. So I think that for a team which is basically built around offense and not on defense, so surely it has been like a really strong and negative sign of how the players approach to the game.
Yeah, you mentioned Kendrick Nunn's struggles during this series, and you also mentioned Branco Badio's fantastic work, especially on the defensive side. But I want to highlight the adjustment that Pedro Martinez did through the series, since Kendrick Nunn started the first quarter of game 1 scoring 14 points, and then Pedro Martinez decided to play more aggressively in coverages, especially on pick and rolls, with the big man guarding the action in a higher position to press the former MVP up, sometimes even blitzing him in static plays at top of the key. Other times sitting in the gaps if he decided to attack the rim, and this worked great in my opinion. In game 1 he scored only 7 points in the remainder of the game, so in 3 quarters. Then from them they kept defending him with, I think, very good results. Obviously, as I said, Branco Barrios' individual work on defense was amazing. In game 5 he also drawn a lot of fouls, and it was a key factor of this game, especially since Kendrick Nunn played basically 1 quarter and a half with 4 fouls, and it was something that was exploited by Valencia's player. I clearly remember Braxton Key attacking him off the catch and beating only with the first step, because Nunn couldn't foul, obviously. But the Valencia general idea was to make Kendrick Nunn a decision maker and not a scorer, letting someone like Matthias Lesort or Kenneth Farid being the short roller and the decision maker, and let the other Panathinaikos player play the 4 against 3, knowing that Panathinaikos did not have Kostas Loukas, which was the second best decision maker, maybe even the first decision maker of the team. And that was, in my opinion, a great move. And if we analyze the type of shots that Kendrick Nunn took throughout the series, the best shots he has taken were shots when he played most of the action off the ball, so spotting up, coming off screens, attacking off the catch, cutting, etc. So I think that overall Valencia not only played their usual brilliant offensive game with their great offensive system, but also they prepared the game, each game defensively, in a very smart way.
Even though Panathinaikos was full of players which were incredibly paid and also very individually talented, such as Osman Mitoglu, but also Douglas Davis, Jaron Grant, Kendrick Nunn, TJ Shorts. We just saw him in the first and second quarter, and not in the third one. He was preferred to Toliopoulos, and there were many of them, as I was telling before, but they did not have I wouldn't call it chemistry, but they just seemed to not have any defensive rule to play against Valencia, and on the pick and rolls they just had to switch, and which Lesort and Farid playing against the Montero or Badio, or even though De La Rea, which was incredible to see through all the game. So it was not like we had to switch against some specific player. No, just switch, and with no rules at all. So basically Valencia did not struggle a lot on the defensive side. They just kept doing what they were asked to do.
In the first 2 games, Valencia actually seemed, pretty lost in some parts of the games due to Panathinaikos switches, because of the great work that Matthias Lesort and Kenneth Farid did against the Valencia Cards. But then the Spanish team figured out that if they slipped the screen in a really quick way, there were no chance for the Panathinaikos players to switch effectively. So in these situations, Valencia's bigs could execute some short rolls action and find the open shooters. So this was probably the biggest thing that turned the series around, in my opinion.
Yes, that must be also another thing to keep in consideration. And I would have also to add that Ataman did not find any way to respond and to answer to the tactics made by Martinez. And Martinez, though, he found it in Montero in game 4, and in game 5 Montero, but especially Branco Badio, which was the MVP at the end, the players that kept him to the level of Panathinaikos, and they responded pound to pound to every basket and everything. And in some ways, they lost a little bit of maybe Omar Moore, which was one of my favorite players through the season, and also Josip Puerto, Lopez Rosteki did not play in this playoff series. But I do think that Montero and Branco Badio could boost the potential of Valencia, and I just had to love Cameron Taylor, which was like a silent sniper also today, and providing the points. I don't know. Every player of Valencia played at the level that was requested by the coach, and I could not say the same for Panathinaikos team.
You mentioned the fact that Ataman was outcoached by Martinez. I think that two were the main points that Ataman succeeded in founding them, and they were utilizing stagger screens to score on the hedge and plug coverage executed by Valencia, and then having his players to do stampede cuts before receiving the ball. But other than these two things, I think that he was not quick enough to respond to Pedro Martinez's adjustment. He tried in some games and some occasions to double team Montero, especially in static plays at the top of the key, but this gave Valencia a numerical advantage on the offensive rebounds, because obviously two Panathinaikos players were paired with one Valencia player. So if you consider a numerical advantage to Valencia in offensive rebounds, it's basically over for you, especially because Valencia is really great at finding the open man after the offensive rebounds. Then in game 4, when Montero played some pick and rolls, they even involved a third man near the action to stunt on him. But again, putting the defense into rotation made things very easier for Valencia. So at one point, as you said, Ataman even tried to put Toliopoulos on Montero, but I mean, he didn't even do a bad job, but that certainly wasn't enough to slow Montero down. And another thing that I liked from Pedro Martinez was double teaming players like Nigel Hayes-Davis and Matthias Lesort in the post. They had to pass the ball, obviously, to the shooters of the perimeter. And that was the reason why players like Prokavopoulos were important, and why Pana needs more players like him, but also more players like Grigonis, who played, I think, a solid game 5. He grabbed some important defensive rebounds. He was doing all the dirty job that no Panathinaikos player can do for the way the roster was built. So this was another way for Pedro Martinez to bet on the supporting cast triple percentages of Panathinaikos. And that's also why a non-shooter like TJ Shorts, who played overall a decent series, I can say, especially in the first 4 games, but in game 5, he completely faded away from the rotation. They let him shoot completely open from 3, and it was an extreme decision, but in my opinion, an efficient one. And in game 5, he wasn't able to make them. So if you combine that with Kendrick Nunn's poor performance, the fact that Kostas Lukas was absent, and Grant's inability to be a first offensive option, this left Pana without much creation from their guards, and this is an important point, especially from a team coached by Ergin Ataman, who often relies on their guards.
Yes, Kendrick Nunn was the main target on defense for Valencia. He just managed to shoot just 13 times, which is obviously a lot for a normal player, but is not a lot for him. I was looking at the stats. He had 6 turnovers and just 1 assist. So basically, he was the real player for obviously for Panathinaikos, and where he goes, Panathinaikos goes, and he didn't succeed in this game. So Panathinaikos drowned with him, and I don't know actually if the future brings Ataman away from Panathinaikos. Some rumors are spread that he will return to Istanbul in Efes. I don't know if the players are going to be there, how many of them, if the contracts, I don't know actually.
Yeah, this might have been Ataman's last game. Some rumors even say that he might be the next Dubai coach if the economic offer is important. And you also said that Kendrick Nunn had some struggles, especially with turnovers. You mentioned the 6 turnovers in Game 5, but also the 5 turnovers in Game 4. So Kendrick Nunn struggled more and more as the series went on. But on the other hand, one player that I want to particularly mention in this series was Braxton Key. And I say that proudly because I have followed him since his Delaware days when he played in the G League. And there is proof here on my Instagram page, the post about Kobe Carl. So he does so many things. He's a stretch big, he's fast, he's athletic, he has good handles, he's very effective in transition and in sleeping in pick and rolls. He's perfect for Valencia's team system. But in general, Braxton Key's role was very, very crucial in this series. And I don't think there are many big men with Braxton Key's characteristics in Europe. So he might be one of the players that next season could found maybe another team or maybe a bigger role in the same team.